Go on, pull up a seat. Stop what you're doing. Find yourself a chair and just sit down for a second. I won't be long. I won't be long, I promise. So after sleeping on that game last night, if you want to call it that, after sleeping on it and thinking about it, reading some of the comments in the comment section, from both the live reaction and also the video that I put out after the live reaction. People telling me, asking, what, you got to stop blaming Daboll. You got to stop putting the blame on Daboll. I didn't put all the blame on Daboll. I put some blame on Daboll, absolutely. Because guess what? Just like everybody else in the world, you know what you have and you know what you're dealing with. You know what your limitations are and you pretty much know what you can get away with. Right? Right. Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback of the New York Giants. Why? Somebody tell me why he's the starting quarterback of the New York Giants. Is it Joe Schoen? Is it Brian Daboll? Is it a mixture of the two? Okay. We saw on Hard Knocks that the Giants possibly intrigued by the opportunity of taking a quarterback. We saw that. We saw the sparkle in Brian Daboll's eyes when Joe Schoen asked him about Jaden Daniels. When you're confident in your quarterback, you don't get sparkles in your eyes like that. Nevertheless, there was no change to the quarterback position. Whose fault is that? It's either going to be Joe Schoen or Brian Daboll. Some people might also want to throw in John Mara. Okay. So when people start talking about he's calling plays because of the limitations of the quarterback, what is that? That's a result of the decisions that were made in the preseason, back in March, back in April, back in May. So I don't want to hear anything about stop blaming Brian Daboll. No, I'm blaming Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, John Mara, the whole New York Giants organization. I'm also blaming Shane Bowen for this loss yesterday. But it's deeper than just this loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Let me say this too. There's a lot of people out there that have been 50-50 when it comes to Daniel Jones. You got a lot of supporters for Daniel Jones. You got a lot of get rid of this guy, for Daniel Jones. But every time the New York Giants won a game, what did I see? People putting out, you got to apologize to Daniel Jones. And nobody wants to pump the brakes and realize what's going on. Well, some people do, actually. Some people know exactly what's going on. So now we're hearing these, comments about, and I'm reading comments about, Brian Daboll called the game because of the limitations of the quarterback. Yeah. Yes, he did. What are the limitations for Daniel Jones? What are the limitations? We saw it last night, the deep pass. I'm screaming for a whole year that Jalen Hyatt is open. And then I'm arguing for the first 3 weeks of the season, why isn't Jalen Hyatt getting the targets? Why isn't Jalen Hyatt? And we saw why Jalen Hyatt is not getting the targets. When you got a guy that they deem is just a deep threat, but your quarterback cannot throw the ball deep, of course you're not going to get that guy on the field. Especially if you don't believe he can do any of those other things. So for me, I'm sitting back and I'm wondering, what is going on? What is really going on? Who's really to blame? And I got a bunch of people telling me that I can't do this and I can't do that. I can't blame Daboll, but I'm blaming everybody. Everybody has a role. Everybody has a hand in what's going on. Now let's talk about it. If we really want to talk about it, because people like to do things the easy way. And the easy thing to do is, Daniel Jones' arm is not strong enough. That's easy to do. Why? Because it's true. But we already knew that. We saw that in Oakland last year before he blew out his knee, that the neck injury caused his arm to be shaky. But you still made a decision to make him your starting quarterback, right? You still decided not to draft a quarterback. You still decided not to bring in real competition behind him. So now we're sitting here talking about Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. But guess what? How much better are those guys? And what happens if you bench Daniel Jones, you throw Drew Lock in there, he's terrible. You throw Tommy DeVito in there, he's terrible. Do you go back to Jones? That's the question that people are making. This season, right now, the way it looks and the way these guys are coaching, and believe me, I believe that the coaches are coaching scared. Now, the reason why the coaches are coaching scared is one thing. You can have a million excuses for it. One of those excuses, yes, Daniel Jones can't throw the ball past 25. But we already knew that. So what is your game plan if you're going to keep this guy in here? What is your game plan to try to mask that? The Dallas Cowboys had the worst rush defense, run defense in the league the first couple of weeks of the season. We got 26 yards rushing. Well, whose fault is that? Is that Joe Schoen for the personnel that's here? No, because guess what? The offensive line has improved. Also, we're going double tight. We got in some cases we got 3 tight ends on the field, and we're not utilizing the tight ends at all. So we're not successful running the ball when you got 3 tight ends in the game, and we're not successful throwing the ball when you got 3 tight ends in the game. Is coaching scared? Scared. Now, is Daboll scared because Jones can't throw the ball? He could be, but guess what? How do you fix that? How about you replace him? How about you put somebody in there that you trust can complete the passes that you want him to complete? Oh, I forgot. Drew Lock hurt it with the hip pointer and the shoulder issue. He can't throw the ball either. People forget about that. He didn't play in the preseason. Why? Because he couldn't throw the ball. He couldn't throw certain routes. How healthy is he? And these guys aren't getting regular reps throughout the season because we're already in the season. So first team is getting the first team reps. Second team is getting a little bit of something. And you never see the third quarterback throwing the ball. So right now we're in a predicament that we should not be in because of decisions that were made 4 months ago. And then I got to look at Joe Schoen. They panned to him last night during the game. And Joe Schoen has the dumbest look on his face. The dumbest look on his face. What did you expect? What did you expect? The Browns game, right? Same issues, but we won. Same issues, but we won. The game plan was not good. We saw the second half of the game. What? Took his foot off the pedal, right? That's coaching. That's coaching, but nobody wants to talk. You can't blame Daboll. You can't blame Daboll. No, you can blame whoever. I can blame whoever I want to blame. It's my opinion. But also I got the stats to prove it and the facts to prove it. So anybody that want to argue, we can argue. We can throw up the tape. What happened in the second half versus the Cleveland Browns? How come we couldn't move the ball in the second half versus the Cleveland Browns? What happened? What happened? Against the Washington Commanders, why didn't we have another kicker when we know the kicker had an injury? It's not just the Dallas Cowboys game that we're talking about when we're talking about coaching scared, or that I'm talking about when we're talking about coaches coaching scared. There's a track record there. There's a history there. So I can blame whoever I want to blame about it. And it is what it is, man. But that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. We got a long 10 days till we play Seattle, and we don't know what to expect. But I will say this. You have 10 days to make some changes. 10 days to make some changes. We got a little bit, like a little mini bye week before our actual bye week. What are the New York Giants going to do? What adjustments are we going to make to the personnel, to the scheme, game planning? What are we going to do to try to make the product on the field a little bit better? That's the questions you need to be asking. And don't ask me about, oh, you need to stop blaming Daboll. Because guess what? I identify the problems. If you wanna rank what the issues are, rank what the problems are, that's fine. That's fine. But coaching is definitely an issue with the New York Giants right now. The roster is definitely an issue with the Giants right now. And absolutely the quarterback play is an issue with the Giants now. I will say this, so you know what's not a problem? The offensive line is not a problem. You know what's not a problem? The weapons. They're not a problem. But it is what it is.